Hi guys, in today's video we are going to talk about Wipro interview experiences shared by so many students from different backgrounds, and I'm going to share it with you guys so that it may help you guys to proceed further in the right direction. So let's get started. Starting with the first interview experience, this is for TalentNext student. Wipro TalentNext interview experience. It is just a business round. There is no technical questions, but many of my friends got technical questions too. Started with self-introduction, about project, as most of the certificates I have mentioned in resume was based on Python. So sir asked me why everyone learn Python only. Then the fourth question was related to relocation. Fifth was how do you choose which company you have to do job? Quite tricky. Anyone said join in Wipro? Any backlog, any questions? Quite straightforward, right? Now let's move to the next interview experience. This interview experience was shared by Civil Engineering branch. Today I had my Wipro interview. I got a lot of questions from your channel and he has asked me academic details, projects, hobbies. Are you willing to relocate? Can you join now in Wipro? What is inheritance? What is stack? Rate yourself out of 10, and that's it. Straightforward, correct? Let's move to the next interview experience. This is shared by Chaitanya from Vijayawada. I have attended a Wipro interview on 12th September. It was great experience. They didn't ask about programming like C, Java or Python. But later the interviewer asked him questions from mechanical side because he was from mechanical background. I have answered all the questions. They asked about what are managerial skill and what do you want to do after 5 years. That's it. Interviewer asked nearly 40 questions from core knowledge. So guys, you should have a core knowledge command along with the IT field. If you know little in IT field, it's fine, but you should be aware of your core field very well. Now let's move to the next. Before proceeding to this video, guys, I have an announcement for you. Do you know how any internship or certification important to you? If you don't know, then let me give you my example. When I got my date of joining, there were a list of candidates who got the same date along with me. And there were around 98 students, and 4 people out of 98, 4 people got manufacturing and logistics domain, and rest all got insurance and banking, and most of them got shifted to either support or testing. And you know what was the common thing in that 4 student? And in that 4 candidate, I was one of them. And you know the common thing among the 4 candidates, their training, certification and internship. So while we compare our resume with others, then we saw like it's because we have a training, we have certification. That's why they have shortlisted out of so many, they have shortlisted only 4 candidates for manufacturing and logistics, which is a niche development domain. And there we got a lot of development work. We worked as a full stack developer. Got the importance of any industrial training or internship in your resume? The competitiveness among skilled graduates are higher already. And owing to be a pandemic and a lockdown, the competition has increased manifold. Securing a good job become more challenging. So textbook, professional training and internship courses are here to help you to learn in more comprehensive manner. Textbook is providing programming with Python course training and internship batch 2. What they will provide? Let me tell you. 30 plus live classes, 150 plus video lesson, assisted assessment, affordable price, Hindi plus English classes, live plus recorded classes, doubt clearing classes, internship projects and certification, test and PDF for reference, download recordings through the textbook app.
These are the feature of this course. And you know what are the topic they are going to cover? Syntax and coding techniques, SQLite and MySQL, real life case studies, file handling in Python, object-oriented programming, Python project cycle, how to build your developer profile, how to prepare for an interview. What else you need? Is another course. If you are interested in Python, go for Python. If you are interested in web development, then take the training and internship for web development. And what they are going to cover in web development? Let me tell you. Video plus live classes, project covered, HTML, CSS project, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQueries, PHP and MySQL. Build website from scratch using HTML, CSS and more with textbook web development course training and internship. What else you need if somebody is teaching you from basics? So learn like a pro with textbook, comprehensive, training come internship, certification courses. Join now to avail it all. Up your skills, get a textbook authorized certification. Develop in-demand skills for a high-paying job. And guess what? You can use the coupon code SWS20 to get 50% plus 20% extra off on these courses. All links are there in the description box. You can go ahead and check it out. If you have any doubt, take the demo class and then decide and take the course.
Interview experience started with the self-introduction about project and technology used. HR questions were framed from what I said in intro, like questions in hobbies, my hometown specialty, discussed about the pandemic, what is DBMS from my area of interest. That's all. Quite straightforward, correct? Now let's move to the next. This is shared by one chemical engineering branch. I gave my Wipro interview last week, business discussion round. At first, I was told to introduce myself. Next, language known by me. As I said C++. Next asked was explain the whole OOPS concept. Questions from my industrial training project as I mentioned it in my introduction. Next was that he asked me the latest code done by me. Then come to HR part. He asked me two situation based questions. What is your favorite food? As I answered XYZ, whatever. Second question was, suppose you are in a project consisting of 5 members. 2 of them don't show respect towards you. What will be your approach? Next, he asked me why choose IT coming from a mechanical engineering background. Next comes whether I'm okay with relocation. Then he asked me whether I'm aware of the bond. And lastly, he asked me whether I have any questions for him. Quite straightforward. Now let's move to the next. My interview was around 30 minutes. So the very first question was introduce yourself. After I was done with my introduction, she asked me to explain my project and she went deep into the project. After around 6 to 7 minutes of discussion on project, she asked me about the language I know and then she asked me about memory management, garbage collections. While answering to those questions, whatever technical terms I was using, the very next question was coming from it. So it was all up to me in which direction I was taking the interview. Pointer concept was also asked in detail. Then she asked me to explain the execution flow of any Java program. Then she asked me about OOPS concept and 4 pillars of it. After that, few HR questions like challenges you have faced during your project, why Wipro over any other organization, extracurriculum activities and achievement, and at last any problem in relocation and 1-year agreement. To sum up, project and the programming language of your choice was the center of your interview. So my result is awaited, and yeah, your channel is very helpful for the final year student and is as beautiful as you. Thank you so much. Now let's move to the next interview. It started with tell me about yourself, about project and internship, what is database, binary search tree, what are constructor and deconstructor, write algorithm for selection short, Asked me about my internship, any question. Straightforward. Then in HR round, tell me about yourself. Why do you choose Wipro? What is your short-term and long-term goal? What are your strengths and weaknesses, hobbies, project and internship? Do you have any backlog? Are you a team player or a team leader? Rate yourself as a team player and a team leader. Do you have any idea about the bond? Any questions? So HR is also pretty much straightforward. Let's move to the next. Okay, these are the collection, some set of questions shared by ECE brand student. Start with self-intro, project, passion. He asked me, I told I am interested in reading novels and started writing a novel. And he started asking me whole things about the book and that's it. Good, right? Next interview, self-intro, question based on my hobbies like genre and author of book, drawing based questions and some questions about music, question based on stress. What will you do if you get bored in your task? What will you do if you get monotonous in your job? Will you sign bond? Backlogs. Next is self-introduction. What is universal logic gate? About CSS. Button in HTML. What is S3? How S3 works? Now let's move to the next. This is also from ECE only. Self-intro, project and your contribution. Data type in C++. Difference between N++ and N++N. Will you relocate? Will you sign bond? Data types in C++. Difference between N++ and ++N. Will you relocate? Will you sign bond? Next is self-intro. Some questions from area of interest, hobbies. Are you able to relocate? Bond, service agreement. Any questions for me? Next is self-intro, ready to relocate, bond, any backlog or gap in education, project, area of interest. Explain any topic other than the in core. I said digital electronics. Explain any one topic in that. What is oops? Encapsulation. What do you know in Python? That's all. Let's move to the next. Self-intro, project explanation, 4G, 5G difference, ready to relocate, difference between Python and Java, willing for a bond, IoT, technology known to you, why Wipro, Wipro CEO, Wipro chairman, that's all. Next is self-intro, internship project, why IoT, why Wipro, service agreement, pointer in C, difference between C and C++, difference DDL, DML command, why Java is not a complete OOPS language, difference between data and database management system, null pointer and pointers, list and tuple, why do you choose it, what do you know about Wipro? That's all. Let's move to the next. Hello, I am Sahiti and I am in final year of engineering in CSE. My interview with Wipro was on campus and it was done on 18 September. Question I was asked in the interview are introduce yourself, explain your project and internship, questions on project. Is it a group or individual project? If group, what is your contribution? What are the challenges you faced while implementing the project? How have you faced them? My contribution was on backend, which is SQL. So he asked questions on SQL. What are database languages? DDL, DCL, DML, TCL command. What is primary key? Explain with example. Types of SQL join. Tell me more about your family. Are you ready to relocate? Are you okay with the bond? Any backlog or education gap? Any questions? Overall, it was easy as compared to other interview. They didn't ask any technical question. Now let's move to the next. Tell me about yourself. Have you any team in your career? I don't know what is this. Do you have any technical certification? Do you have any backlog in BTech? Do you have any year gap in your education? Are you willing to sign the bond for 1 year? Ma'am, some of the interviewer didn't ask any technical question. They asked only HR based question. But my friends, some of his friends got technical questions like what is list, tuple, dictionary and their differences. Write a palindrome, prime number, even or odd program like basic programming questions. The interview was not that hard, but it was like basic knowledge. If you have the basic knowledge, you can crack the interview. My interview has completed on 8th of October 2021 on Superset. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Now, let's move to the next. Hello, ma'am. I am from ECE. It was an on-campus interview. Introduce yourself. Where do you see yourself? Introduce yourself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Preferred programming language. Any backlog? Willing to relocate? Any bond? Comfortable in signing bond? Any questions? I hope these questions are useful for some folks. Yeah, definitely. All questions are almost same, and most of the questions are HR rather than technical, right? Now let's name Sudhanshu Pandey from Computer Science. It was an on-campus Wipro recruitment drive. First, an online test conducted on AMCAT platform containing aptitude, reasoning, verbal essay, and 2 coding questions. In the interview, the interviewer first asked me to give an introduction. Okay. After that, he asked me about my project. Also, he asked me to explain my minor project, which was based on machine learning. After that, he asked me 2 questions regarding machine learning. What is machine learning and why you have implemented machine learning in your project. After that, he asked me some HR questions like, are you willing to relocate, and information about the bond, etc. So it's pretty much straightforward as any other interview. Now let's proceed further. Ma'am, I got a mail from Wipro Elite and TH. Okay, for being shortlisted on 8th October from our college, and my interview was on 11th October 9:30 a.m. In the mail, it was written that it's going to be a virtual business discussion round. No separate TRHR. First, the interviewer asked me, how are you doing? My stream, ECE. Next, he asked me, what is the relation between ECE and IT? Okay. How can I help the company being a student of ECE? Do I know any programming language? I told C and Java. He asked me basic OOPS concept. Next, he asked me about my project. Why do I want to join Wipro? Am I willing to relocate? Any questions? This was how my interview ended, ma'am. In most of the cases, it was a typical HR interview, and even they asked some situational questions to some of my friends. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Your videos helped me a lot. I'm really very grateful to you, ma'am. Thank you, Diptisha from ECE, Narula Institute of Technology. Let's move to the other experience. I have done my Wipro interview. Basically, I'm from SRM, from EEE background. Basically, they call it business plus HR round. My interview ran about 25 to 30 minutes. It first started with introduction. Why do you want to join Wipro? Do you have any idea what kind of project Wipro give to fresher? If you are somehow not able to cope up with your teammates during a project, how do you manage the situation? Okay, situation based question. Interviewer asked me from my resume, questions from resume about my project to explain motive behind the project, your role. Now the last question, you are from EEE, why do you want to software company, and if you got offer from the core company, will you leave out Wipro? Lastly, I have asked by them that do you have any questions, and PS, I got multiple offer, Wipro, Gen-C, EY, GDS. They call it, the role is Oracle based and web development. They call it multitask role for EY. My position is associate consultant. Okay, CTC 5.8 annual. Okay, and plus benefit. Of course, you should go with EY. See the package, see the roles. It is clearly mentioned, the development, web development, Oracle based. Everything is related to development. Are you interested in that? Then go for it. There's nothing to ask, there's nothing to compare Wipro, Gen-C and EY. I would definitely, if I'm at your place, I will definitely prefer that role. It really depends on person to person. I like this role. Now let's move to the next. I am Bhargavi from ECE. My Wipro interview style like introduction. Tell me about yourself. Start with introduction. Tell me about your project. What do you know about Wipro? How will you work and finish a task if your teammate do not respond and work together? If any concept is new to you, how will you learn it? Okay, that's pretty much straightforward. Let's move to the next. I am a CSE student. Start with introduction, recursion function to add natural number, method overriding, recursive function to add natural number, method overriding, and I guess it should be overloading. Virtual function, questions on favorite programming language, about your project, that's all. Straightforward, right? Let's move to the next. This is shared by one civil engineering student. Self-intro. Which language are you comfortable in? Can you answer questions in C? Can you talk about C language for 2 minutes continuously? Do you know Java? Which stream are you from? Why choose IT over civil? What are qualities of team leader? What are qualities of team member? What is your idea of work-life balance? What do you expect from Wipro? Where do you see yourself in 10 years at Wipro? Why Wipro for 10 years? What do you do in your free time? What do you do in internet in your free time? Okay, and he asked me consent regarding 1-year bond, relocation, which is better for loop, while loop, and why? Questions about written test, coding, aptitude, essay, and inspiration, and why. If we write code in any other language other than language in our resume, they asked how and why. Hello ma'am, I have completed interview before 10 days. My interview just went for 10 minutes. I am from mechanical background. Interviewer just asked me HR questions only, like introduce yourself, why Wipro, any backlog, is there any educational gap, do you know about Wipro bond, and final question is, as you're from mechanical engineering, if you get any mechanical related job with high package and high position, will you be with Wipro or will you go? Okay,